Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be creating multiple widgets within the app, and going to explore Widget Bundle. That's a new feature where you can bundle multiple different types of widgets into a single set. And when you present your widgets list to your users, you can actually show them just like a single widget is show with different form factors. Okay, but before we actually go on and create that example, I want to show you I wanted to circle back on last video's discussion where we were having that issue of Xcode beta 3, and you could not configure the widget basically based on different categories that we created with intent definition. So what I ended up doing is I ended up downloading again Xcode beta 2. So as you can see, it's Xcode version 12 beta 2. Okay, so I'm no longer running beta 3, I'm running beta 2. And if I run basically this one right here, there you have your app. And I'm gonna go home and then hold and tap and edit widget. You're gonna notice this is the category selection that you see. Okay, and this is what we were not seeing in Xcode beta 3 scenario. Okay, so code is exactly same. Now if you want to select a different category, you can do that, and you simply click out of it and your widget is configured with that category. Now let me show you what I was talking about when I was telling you can have multiple ones. So you go expense widget and you add another widget, and now you can actually configure this to have maybe rent. Okay, so you've got food expense, you've got rent expense, you can add more. And what this is going to do is basically this is going to keep refreshing these widgets based on their own set of conditions. So this is how you can have like configurable widgets, and then you can have different tile for each configuration, and it'll refresh independent of other. Okay, so that's how you can create multiple widget variations out of same widget just by using the intent configuration. Okay, so that is it for this example, not for the video. Okay, so I'm gonna close this one, and I hope you can get this, like, Xcode beta 2. Just go to Apple download and download beta 2 again and use that, and hopefully in beta 4 or 5 Apple fixes this issue of configurable widgets. Okay, so I'm gonna close this one, and let's head back to our main topic of the day, and that is widget family. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I am going to add new target, and we're gonna add widget target. So we're gonna go down and select this one, and we're gonna name this one widget family. Okay, multiple widgets. Multiple widget is our project name, so let's say, yeah, widget family is okay. Okay, leave all the options default, uncheck if include configuration intent is checked, uncheck that one, and click finish. Okay, and we do want to activate the scheme, and there we go. Okay, so we have our widget created. Now let's go ahead and create some folders. So I'm gonna create a folder without a group without a folder, and we're gonna call this one widgets. Okay, and inside this we're gonna create more. So we're gonna create one called exchange, and we're gonna basically show exchange rate for this widget. So exchange rate widget, and there's going to be another one that's going to show uh, random quotes from an API. So we're going to call this one quotes widget. Okay, and now within these widgets, we're going to create more groups. So I need views and widget, a group for models, and a group for services. Okay, and so let's get the exchange rate widget created, and then we're gonna go on and create our other widget, which is going to be quotes widget. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with models. So I'm going to create a model. So add a new file, and we're going to choose Swift file, and make sure the target is the family, widget family. Okay, and we're going to name this one exchange rate. Okay, so I'm going to use basically this API. Let me pull up the API, which is a really simple API, but it's slightly limited in use for Codable, or at least I don't know, like, how to use Codable this way. But let me show you what I'm talking about. So I have this API. This API is api.exchange_rates api.io, and latest question mark base is equal to US dollars, and symbol is USD and INR. So USD and INR rates is what we are actually trying to get. Okay, the variable part, what I was talking about, is these rates are given between two currencies in their own symbols, right? So, and if you're coding codable class, then these names have to be exactly same, right? So if you change this to, let's say, AUD, for example, then the key changes to AUD. Okay, so I think if you want to make it variable, make this API variable, maybe use JSON serialization instead of using Codable. But for our example, we're gonna use Codable, because I just want to show you how you can patch this information and show, but you can still use like your own version of JSON parsing, and then work with that. Okay, so this is going to be the API that we're going to be using. Okay, so back to the code, and what we're going to do is we're going to create our exchange rate first. So we're going to say import foundation is fine, struct exchange rate, and this is going to be decodable. Okay, like I said, we're gonna work with decodable, and I'm gonna rely on those hard-coded keys. But like I said, you can change using JSON serialization and search for the key that user has selected to be converted for the exchange rate. There's going to be another struct which is going to have exchange rate response, and this one is also going to be decodable, and you're going to get rates and rates is going to be of type exchange rate, and date, which is going to be of type string. Okay, now that is your model. Now next up is your service. So let's go ahead inside the service, create a new file, and we're going to create Swift file once again, and this is going to be called exchange rate manager. Okay, and import from UIKit if you might need something. Struct exchange rate manager static func current rate. Okay, we're gonna use completion block, escaping type or exchange rate, which is going to return void. All right, we're gonna call our URL session dot shared dot data task with URL, and I'm gonna just construct the URL right here, and we will use that API link. So let me copy that like so, and I'm gonna post and wrap it. You can do all the checks if you like. We get data response and error. And then we simply check for error. All right. Response is equal to try JSON decoder dot decode exchange rate response dot self from data. Okay, and then we say if let response or exchange rate is equal to response. If we get that value, if it's not nil, then we call completion block and simply supply the rates. Okay, and don't forget to call resume. There we go. So that is our service. Okay, now next up, let's do our widget. So let's start creating our timelines and stuff. So we're gonna go create a new file, and we're gonna create this one and call this exchange rate timeline or exchange timeline provider. Like so. Okay, and import from WidgetKit. Let's create a struct. Timeline provider. Okay, and for the entry, entry type is gonna be exchange entry. We haven't created that, so let's go ahead and create that. I'm gonna create a new file, exchange entry, and exchange entry is gonna be simple WidgetKit struct timeline entry, and then exchange rate, like so. Okay, all right, so you've got exchange entry, so go back to your timeline provider. Exchange entry is not in the scope. Let's make sure the target membership is correct, and if you try to jump definition, okay, so awesome, it's actually there. It's gonna go away in a minute. Okay, now next up is our snapshot, and we can create an entry or date. some random data. Takes double, not string. Okay. All right, and we call our completion with entry. Okay, that's our snapshot. Then you have timeline, and gonna say current date is date, and refresh date is calendar.current.date by adding day. So it's gonna refresh every day. Value is gonna be 1, so every single day. Yep, adding to current the current date, like so. Okay, and then you simply call your exchange rate manager dot current rate, and you get a completion block, and this is where you get the rate. Okay, so you simply say let entry is equal to exchange entry, and you supply your current date, and you supply the rate that you have received. Then you take your timeline and construct that with timeline, and say entry is going to be the entry that's provided, and refresh is going to be after date, and that is going to be refresh date. Okay, and it's going to go here, and then you got your completion that needs to be called with timeline. Okay, so that is your timeline provider, and we already have exchange entry. So now let's go ahead and create our widget, so we know what views we're gonna need, so we can actually work on those. So exchange widget. Okay, and here we're gonna import from WidgetKit and maybe SwiftUI. Okay, gonna create a struct exchange widget. Once again, widget, and let's create our kind. So private let kind string is exchange widget, and we need body, and this is going to be static configuration of kind. Timeline provider we already created, we know that is exchange timeline provider. Placeholder view we have not created, so let's go ahead and create that. So we're gonna simply say new file, SwiftUI placeholder view or exchange placeholder view. Okay, and in exchange placeholder view, we are going to simply say, I'm simply gonna say loading, but you can change your widget to basically use a fancy widget with for redacted need. If you want to create a redacted effect, just create a rounded rectangle as a placeholder and show that. That's actually gonna work perfect. Okay, then we get our entry, and we need to use that entry. So let's create an entry view. So I'm going to create exchange rate entry view. Okay, and exchange rate entry view is going to basically take the entry. So let entry of type exchange entry, right? And then we are simply gonna have a z stack. Inside this z stack, I'm gonna create this off-white color. I'm gonna copy and paste. Okay, so this off-white color, Um, let me see if I can get the hex value for this one. Yeah, F4, F5, F7. Okay, so that's the hex value. And then you have a VStack. Let's get some spacing, about 10 points. And let's get a H stack as well with spacing about 5 points. Okay, and we're gonna have a text, and this is gonna be our dollar symbol, and font, it's gonna be large title, padding, okay. Background is basically the same color. Clip shape circle, and shadow with color as color dot black dot opacity 0.2, radius 5, x 5, and y 5. Okay, I'm gonna copy that, paste it here, change this color to white, opacity to 7, and gonna cast the shadow in -5s. Okay, next up we're gonna have a text, and this text is gonna have string formatter, format with argument, and this is going to show 2 decimal, so 0.0.02f. okay, and for the arguments it's gonna have entry. So I don't know if we need arguments actually. Entry dot exchange rate dot USD. Okay, and this is gonna be bold, and foreground color is gonna be color dot black dot opacity 0.7. okay. All right, so next one is gonna be similar for the H stack, so I'm gonna copy this and paste it here. It's just gonna be INR symbol, so the way you can get it is press Command Control space and look for maybe, yeah, so I'm going to use that, and that's Indian currency symbol, and rest remaining everything, yeah, everything remains same. Okay, so you got your haystack closed, and then your VStack. So let's give it a little bit of padding here, like that. Default padding is good. And for the Z stack, edges, ignoring safe area, all. Okay, and I'm gonna remove this guy from here, and there we go. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and see. We forgot something. We forgot our widget. Okay, so we need this one right here. Okay, so it's gonna be simply in, and this is gonna be exchange entry view. Entry is gonna be the entry that's being supplied, and let's go ahead and build one more time. I'm gonna select everything and format, Control I, and as soon as it builds, all right, so we have our first widget ready. Okay, now we're gonna work on second widget. Okay, and that is gonna go fast as well, because we already know most of the components, so we can just create those. Let me show you the service that we're gonna use, and this service is actually I really like it because there's no API key or anything needed, and you get random quotes. Sometimes you do get errors and stuff. Some Okay, so like this, you get random quote every refresh, so you can create like a quotes widget that actually refreshes a quote every few minutes. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We can actually create same widget, and we're gonna see how we can do it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna create some new files here. So we're gonna start with our folders first. So let me, okay. So we're gonna need models. Okay, and let's get views. We might need some utils. Services. Widget. Okay, so we have model, widget, utils, and views. Okay, all right, I'll do it. Let's start with models. So we're gonna create a new file here, and Swift file. Gonna call this one quote. Okay, and this one is basically going to contain the quote. So I've already seen that what it returns, so I'm just gonna say decodable. Okay, so that's your model, and next up is your service. So let's go ahead and create that. So I'm gonna create service Swift file. Okay, struct. Data task, and we're gonna use the URL overload. So once again, URL from string, and we already know the string. It is this guy right here, api.forestmatic.com/api 1./1.0/ method is equal to get quote, and lang is equal to en, and format is equal to JSON. Okay, and we're gonna force unwrap that one. All right, we get data, response, and error, just like usual. In, and then we simply check for guard error is equal to nil, else return. And you might want to report these errors somewhere or log them at least. I'm just gonna skip this for the brevity, and gonna consider that you're gonna do that. Dot self from data. Okay, and from the completion we're gonna call quote like that. Okay, and don't forget to call resume on this guy. All right, so that is our service, and let's see. We might actually, you know what, for utils, we might need a random color generator. So let me create a colors class, colors plus extensions. Okay, color plus extension. So extension color is not gonna get detected because you need to import SwiftUI for that, like that. Okay, and what you need is static func random, and opacity is what we're gonna expect user to pass. Okay, and this is gonna be of type double. It's gonna return a color, and it's just gonna return some random color. So we're gonna use color RGB. Okay, double dot random and range 0 dot 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 1. Okay, so we're gonna get random color for red between 0 to 1, same for blue, and opacity is supplied to us. All right, that's our colors extension, and let's go ahead and create our timeline provider now. So I'm going to create a timeline provider. Select Swift file, quote timeline provider. Okay, and gonna import WidgetKit and import SwiftUI if we need something from there. Struct. Okay. Timeline provider like that, and I'm gonna format it. Okay. Then next up, we're gonna create our entry. Entry is going to be of type quotes entry. So let's create that. Quote entry, and entry file is gonna be simple like other entry files. WidgetKit, and it's gonna be struct timeline entry public let date. Okay, and public let quote. Okay. All right, so go back and quote entry, gonna give it that. So that's our entry. Let's create our snapshot and our timeline. So snapshot, and snapshot is gonna have an entry. Date type. So it's telling me that there's something wrong with quote, so we're gonna see what it is. I'm gonna use one of the quote that I got from the API, and gonna paste it here. Okay, for our snapshot, and gonna call completion entry. And I have no idea why it's saying it's an error type. So let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, go ahead and build that. Date is not in scope, that's why. Import foundation. Okay, let's go back, and that should actually at least build. Okay, cool. So let current date is our date. Let refresh date is calendar.current.date by adding minutes to value is gonna be 10 minutes, so we're gonna refresh every 10 minutes to current date. Okay, and then we're gonna simply say quote manager dot get quote, and we get our quote here. Okay, and we simply say guard let q is equal to quote, else return. There's nothing we can do, or you can actually provide some default values if you like. Quote entry date is going to be current date, and quote is going to be q. Let timeline, and then you're going to have your entries. It's your entry, and policy is after a date, and that date is refresh date. Okay, and call your completion or timeline. Okay, so let's go ahead and build that. Yes, we do need to call it return and build that one more time. And let's go ahead and create our widget now. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new file, and we're gonna call this quote widget. Now there's one thing you might be wondering that is missing is the main, and that's where we're gonna actually use our WidgetKit bundle. Okay, so we are just getting there as fast as we can. Okay, struct quotes widget, and private let kind string of this type. Okay, and then we're gonna have our body. Once again, it's gonna be static configuration and kind. Timeline providers are quote timeline provider. Let's create our placeholder view. So I'm gonna create okay, so that's gonna be our quote placeholder view. And next up is our entry. Okay, so let's create our entry view. Now our entry view is going to be, let's select SwiftUI template this time, and quote entry view. Okay, entry view is going to be well, simple. It's not going to have much in it. I'm going to remove this preview, and then I'm going to say this expects an entry. Okay, and next is our Z stack, which takes color dot random with opacity 0.6. That's how we're going to use our random color. And here we're simply going to show a text of our entry dot quote text, and we're gonna put a new line and a dash and our author name. So entry dot quote author. Okay, dot bold dot foreground color is going to be white. Padding, default padding. Edges ignoring safe area all. Okay, all right, so those are, well, let's connect our widget before we call it done. So we are simply going to say here, and we need quote entry view quote no entry. Okay, and let me take this guy out. Okay, all right, format. Okay, so one thing we want to do is fix this error first, and then we do want to provide supported family. So I want to say supported family for this widget is going to be system medium. Okay, and configuration option and description I'm gonna copy and paste. So we're gonna restrict to these two. Okay, basically not restrict to these two. What we're gonna say is, like, we're getting famous quotes here and some description, and supported family is system medium. And for the exchange rate, I'm gonna copy these three things right here, and I'm gonna go to the widget and provide its modifier as well for system small. Okay, and okay, like that. Okay, all right, so two of our widget, there's one gonna be small and one gonna be medium of size, family size. Okay, now the entry point. Okay, so how are we gonna create the entry point? So I left this file on purpose. Okay, and we did not create app, so you can create if you like. Well, we don't need any of these, so we're gonna remove everything from here, and you're gonna simply say struct you can call it, like, widget family or something. Widget family widget sorry, let's call this, yeah, widget family widget bundle. Okay, so this is not the widget, it's this one is called widget bundle, and this one we're gonna decorate with main. Okay, and we're gonna create body, so it takes a body and returns some kind of widget, and we have to attribute this with widget bundle builder. So this is going to be of type widget bundle builder. Now we're gonna use our exchange widget here and quote widget. Okay, just like that. So you've got those two widgets ready to go, and if we build and run, and if we haven't done something terribly wrong, hopefully it's gonna build and it's gonna show us two different widgets. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that's okay, so I'm gonna remove this old app so it removes all the widgets. There we go. Okay, so let's add a new widget. So I'm gonna click add multiple widgets, and there you go. So you have your exchange rate for widget that you created, and you have your famous quotes. And if you notice, there are only two widgets that you're providing, right? So you can, let's say, add this one, and let's add the other one as well. Okay, add widget, and well, I have no idea why. This must be the API issue. Anyways, the intent was to show you how you can add widget bundle, and you can figure out the API related issue later on. But yeah, for our case, this is how you can actually create widget or family of widgets with different variations. Now, if you had a case, let me show you something really quickly. If you had a case where you said quotes widget supports small and large, right? In that case, what's going to happen is you're going to see three widgets. One is going to be of type exchange because we only support small family for that one, and the second one or other two are going to be of type quotes because we support two families for that. Okay, so let me do it again. All right, where did it go? Come on. Okay, it's not showing up. Let me. Okay, now it is showing up. So as soon as it's loaded, now it's going to show up. So as you can see, we have three widgets now, right? So we have medium, large, and the small one of different kind. Okay, so that's how you create your widget family. Okay, so hopefully you found this video helpful. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in another video. So thank you.